Guys, welcome back for another video. So in this one we're going to be turning this model bus into a fully working RC car. So I've already started taking this thing apart, hence why it's got no front wheels on it or rear wheels on it there. But yeah, this thing here is a 172 scale, or I suppose for all you Orlando Hunter enthusiasts out there, 172th. So this bus is basically a tiny, it is metal, tiny little bus, and I've been asked if I can turn it into a RC. They don't think that I'll be able to. They think it's too small, but do you know something? We're gonna do this, damn it. God damn it, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it good. Now I've been thinking for ages, how the hell am I gonna fit everything in there? I'm used to using all the Orlando Hunter stuff, so you know, like this is the ESC. Can't really see it in there, but yeah, the ESC in there, and you know, 2S batteries that would be way too big for this thing. And then all of a sudden last night I literally thought to myself, well, what about Das Micro? Now Das Micro, if you don't know what Das Micro is, Das Micro make a tiny 1/87th scale. So we're talking this big. Now this is a Unimog, and the electrics and stuff that goes into this is just absolutely surreal. It's ridiculous. But that got me thinking, what about their electronics? And I have been given in the past a few of these. This is a tiny little 1S ESC, believe it or not, and that is a Das Micro ESC. And it does have a couple of different outputs on it, so you have one for a drive motor and then the other one can be for LEDs, so there's potential there that we can use this in here and also get some LEDs on the go, so that's a possibility. So yeah, I think I'm going to try and go with one of them. With regards to motors and stuff like that, it's so tight, there's no way really to get a motor reduced down enough so that it's running at a nice slow speed. The only one that I did find, which is one of these. Now this is an N20 motor, so it's kind of pushing it for this such a tiny little ESC, but you know something, we're going to try this. So we're going to try and hook up an N20 dual output shaft motor to this, so that way I can literally stick it ba-boom on there and whack my wheels on it, and fingers crossed that will give us drive to the rear of the bus. And then all we've got to do is try and work out how the heck am I gonna make this thing steer. It doesn't steer naturally, so I'm gonna have to get very creative on this bit here. And I thought, sod it, let's do a video on this and take you guys along with me. How about that, you lucky people? So far I have taken this apart, right? So there we go. That's the amount of room I've got to play with. I do want to keep the seats and stuff as well. I want to make it, you know, look really cool, and perhaps put an LED in here somewhere so it lights it up. That would be absolutely wicked. We have taken the seats off like that, and it really doesn't give me a lot of room. So in all fairness, using this little ESC, that might not be a bad thing. And the receiver though, unfortunately, is quite big. It is the one from that Surplus Hobby 4-channel radio that I just picked up. Just did a video on it. If you've not seen that, head over to my channel and give that one a quick little like. So yeah, we've got this, and this will run on 1S. You can see there 3.3 to 10 volts, so I'm using that for that reason alone. And then that way I can use like tiny 1S batteries, probably not like this shape, but you know, little square one or something, and I can use that and that will run it. I'm also going to be using a 2.2 gram servo. This is an Orlando Hunter special, so it is a nice low voltage servo, so that will run hopefully off 1S, so that will be good. So I've kind of worked out, you know, how it is that I'm gonna electronically power this thing, but now I've got to try and work out how the heck am I gonna fit all of this stuff inside of here and mount it all up and make some form of steering system. This is going to be a bit of a challenge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on, do some tests with some of this stuff, make sure that it definitely works before I go building it all into the truck, because if it doesn't work then I've failed miserably on YouTube again. But no, I'm sure we'll get through it and we're going to make this thing work. Right, so test phase 1. So what I've done is I've soldered together As you can see there, the ESC to the motor. I've just stuck the wheels on it just to give it a rough, you know, estimated speed. We can connect the battery onto the receiver, so that's now on. So we've now got drive. Like I say, it's not the fastest of vehicles, I must admit. You know, I've certainly built faster vehicles than this, but it's not about speed with this little coach. It's about just making something work. You know, if I wanted to, I could change the motor out for a faster RPM, because this is, initially I was going to do this, don't forget, as 2S, so I was going to use these motors, but then after having the epiphany of the whole use the teeny tiny ESC, but that has dropped obviously the voltage. It's half the voltage, so I've gone from this being a 68 RPM, this has dropped it right the way down to, I think it's about 17 RPM, but still it's working, it's running, it's going nice and smooth. You know, can't really complain. That's good enough, isn't it? Hey? Happy days. So anyway, it's proved my theory of this will run on 1S, that will power that will power that, and we've got drive. So now it's time, I guess, to go ahead and start to work out how the heck I'm going to fit this inside that. I think what I'm going to try and do, to be honest with you, get some plastic card and perhaps make a new chassis, so that way I can make just a nice platform, flat platform, and then off of that we can get mounting this thing here. We'll see. Let's get some stuff and get cracking. Right, so I have crudely mounted onto my homemade chassis. I've crudely mounted that motor there. I've stuck the wheels on, they're only glued for a minute. It's just still test runs. I've got to cut a bit off of each one of these shafts, and I don't really want to do it, but I'm gonna have to do it in a minute. So yeah, I've still got to cut out the wheel wells on here, and there'll be a couple on here for the front ones. But for now, that's getting somewhere. It's now mounted. So what I might do, I don't know, I don't know. What I have done though is decased, so I've taken the case off of the receiver to try and make it a little bit smaller, and I'm toying with the idea of going ahead and removing all of these pins so I can solder the connections directly straight onto this, once again making it smaller and smaller, and we're trying to get everything as compact and tiny as I can for this build. So yeah, I might give that a go. Desolder these. I hate doing these because if it goes wrong, it goes very wrong indeed. Right guys, so we have successfully desoldered and resoldered the receiver that's been sort of stuck on the board. So the ESC is now soldered in place as well. Motor's soldered. I've still got to solder them, but hey ho. This is the servo that I'm going to be using, so that's just going to be crudely poking through the bottom there. And I've been working on some ideas on how to do this, but the problem is that I'm facing is there's only so much I can do in my man cave, you know, and these are my tools, you know, this is all of my machinery right there, and that's no good. So what I've got to do is I've got to quickly upgrade all of this stuff. It shouldn't take 5 seconds, but yeah, and then we can get back on it. So yeah. Right guys, we have created an amazing place. Look at this. So the man cave has definitely been upgraded. This here is a mill, and we have got a hell of a lot of tooling going on over there. I've had to bring some more bits, some more of these bad boys here, so I've had to go on Amazon, get some of those, because the stuff that I'm trying to do is so small, it's ridiculous. So yes, we have got this mill. This was given to us by a good friend of mine called John, absolute amazing legend. Believe it or not, he gave me like this. He gave me this. This is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I still can't believe that he did this, quite frankly. And he gave us all of the tooling as well. We've got these jobbers here. We've got big vise on it as well. We've got all of the clampage that we should ever need. There's some more tools and gauges over there. So yeah, massive shout out to my good friend John for sorting this out for us. Absolute legend. Since we've got it, we've actually put a DRO on it, and it does have stepper motors here. It was sort of CNC, sort of homemade CNC, so John had actually sorted this out and made it himself so that it works via his computer. But I didn't quite want it to be like that. I wanted it to be more of a manual mill. A lot easier to use if you're not any good like myself with any of the programming side of stuff. You know, I can dabble, but I'm no expert. So this thing is more beneficial for the old Mike's Man Cave for it to be manual. But what we have done is, with using the stepper motors, we've added this control panel here. And this control panel will basically work as an auto feed, so we can choose which axis that we want it to be on, X, Y or Z, and then we can either clockwise or counterclockwise rotate the motors. So it is, you know, sort of auto feed. We've also added to it DRO, which is a digital readout. This thing here is very essential when it is that you're doing tiny stuff. Much better to be having a DRO. So we've added all of that stuff as well. And one of the best bits about this is actually working on solar panels. So this thing is actually powered by the sun. Oh, don't look at it, Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? This thing is actually powered by the sun, so it's very economical. Little bit. So yeah, we have a mill, awesome stuff. We've also got over this side, we've also got a nice lathe. So this is a Warco lathe, a WM250, and this thing is quite good for precision engineering. So hopefully I'll be able to make a few bits on that as well today. But anyway, so we have all of this equipment. We've got grinders and big pillar drills over there. We've got more tools on the walls that anyone could need, want or ask for. We've also got a shot blaster over there as well, and a whopping great big tractor, but we won't be needing that stuff. We're here to sort this front axle out, so I'm going to get cracking. I have got some sort of plans sketched up, sort of ish. I've got a chunk of aluminium there, or aluminum, so I've got some of that there, so I'm going to whack that in the vise, and I'm going to hopefully straighten up this edge and get building some form of an axle. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do this, but you know, something I'm going to try. You know, why not? We've got this new equipment that I'm sure fully trained on. Yeah, and we've got a lathe over there as well that can also pull me in and kill me. So this is going to be exciting. We're gonna crack on, guys. Get this fired up. Let's do some stuff. Do some machining. Okay guys, so we have just created this thing. So this is going to be our beginning to our front axle. We've got a hole in the middle there, that's where it's going to be mounted, so it'll have a bit of wobbleability. And then we've made these two knuckles here, I suppose you could call it. Is it a knuckle? I don't know. These two bits here, I've got to put a hole through the top all the way through. And I'm going to make some bits now over on the lathe over that way. That will hopefully fit in this hole, and then back onto the mill to cut a slice. You ain't got a clue what I'm chatting about, but I've got an idea. But yes, let's go to the mill. No, we're at the mill. Let's go to the lathe. Right, so we are over at the lathe. And we've got a chunk of metal in there. Chipping these away. And we've got a chunk of metal in there. We've got a tip there. Hopefully it'll be okay. It's a hand ground one. So yeah, I've guessed with that. And yes, we have a piece of metal in there. We're going to fire this thing up and hopefully make some bits. So let's crack on. Perfect. Right, so back over at the mill, we have put a rotary chuck, mounted that onto the table itself. So now we've got our piece there that's 2.9 millimeters precisely. What I'm going to do with that is drill a hole. The reason why I've mounted this is because I need to drill a hole through it one way and then turn it 90 degrees and drill a hole through it the other way. And then counter bore one of those holes to 1.5 mil deep. So yeah, I'm gonna do that stuff. And I've also got a machine a groove into it as well. So yeah, I'll do all of that. What I'm gonna be using is a 1 mil drill bit. I'm also gonna be using over there, that is a 1.5 mil end mill. And I'll be using that as well. So yes, those two things. Things. Awesome. Right, we have state my hands. We've made our hands dirty. We have created this thing, so all of that nonsense I was on about earlier. So we've got our two holes there that are obviously 90 degrees to each other, and then one of them is counterboard. It's really hard to show you this, but one of them is counterboard. And on this side we have got a groove, also with a hole in it. So this is going to effectively, hopefully, turn and become part of the steering rack. Now, I'm going to end this video here, guys, because quite frankly this video is going to be quite a while. It's going to take many hours more work, and I don't want it to be 100 years of uploading. So what I'm going to do is end the video here, but don't forget, stay tuned, stay subscribed, hit that like button, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. There you go, just like what he just said. What did you say?
Hit that like button, you YouTubers.
You YouTubers.